There are 4 more trigonometric functions that we need to learn about: tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant. And these are their shorthand notations when we're actually playing with them mathematically. Now there's a picture that goes along with all these. Just like the cosine is the x value of where the angle crosses the unit circle, and the sine is the y value of where it crosses the unit circle. Here's the tangent. When you draw this line, that's tangent. Secant is this line here, cotangent, and cosecant is this black line here. But this is just for interest's sake, just so you know that there are geometric interpretations of these 4 trigonometric functions. But we're going to go ahead and look at them with some definitions based on how they're related to sine and cosine. So we'll look at this picture later in the quarter, but for now, we're going to look at these definitions, how they're related to sine and cosine. So tangent is sine over cosine. Cotangent is cosine over sine, which, by the way, is the same as 1 over tangent. Secant's 1 over cosine, and cosecant's 1 over sine. And the key thing is we need to make sure we memorize these definitions right away. They are so important in this class. Okay, so let's find a few of these trigonometric functions based on our pretty angles, the ones where we know the exact answers to. Let's do tangent of 5 pi fourths to start. So we need to look at the unit circle. It's all in the picture. You never want to memorize the sines and cosines and tangents of all these angles. There's too much to memorize. It's all in the picture. So let's draw our angle. 5 pi fourths is right there, which, by the way, you need to know where 5 pi fourths is. And the angle 5 pi fourths crosses the unit circle at negative radical 2 over 2, comma negative radical 2 over 2. And when we look at our definitions for tangent and cotangent, etc., we know that tangent is sine over cosine. So we know the tangent sine of 5 pi fourths over cosine of 5 pi fourths. And we know that the sine is negative radical 2 over 2 and the cosine is negative radical 2 over 2. So we end up with that lovely fraction, which nicely simplifies to plain old 1. And that's our answer. All right, let's do another one. Let's look at the secant this time. Now, this unit circle picture I have doesn't have negative angles. We can just do it ourselves. There's negative pi 6, negative 2 pi 6, negative 3 pi 6, negative 4 pi 6, negative 5 pi 6, negative 6 pi 6, negative 7 pi 6. So that's our angle right there. And our point is negative radical 3 over 2, 1/2. Remember, you don't have to memorize this again, other than the fact that the answers or the coordinates are going to have radical 3 over 2 and 1/2 in it. But the reason that the x value is negative is because it's in the second quadrant, and the y value is positive because it's in the second quadrant. And notice that the sine value, right, the y value, the y coordinate is smaller in magnitude than the x coordinate. So that's why the x value is radical 3 over 2 with a negative on it. Of course, it's negative because it's in the second quadrant. That's a larger magnitude than the y value here, which is 1/2. Anyways, once we understand what the point is, we need to remember what secant is. Secant is 1 over cosine. So we want to look at 1 over cosine, and cosine in this situation is this negative radical 3 over 2. Cosine is the x value. And when we take the reciprocal of negative radical 3 over 2, we get negative 2 over radical 3. And what we usually want to do is rationalize the denominator, honestly, just to make it pretty. And you end up with a beautiful answer of negative 2 radical 3 over 3. That would be the exact answer for secant of negative 7 pi 6. All right, one more. Cosecant of 3 pi. Let's draw our angle again. 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. So that's our angle. Our point's a really easy one this time. Negative 1, 0. And here's our definitions again. But make sure you remember you need to memorize these. You're not going to have these for reference. So as soon as possible, stop looking at this. Cosecant is 1 over sine. So we're looking at sine, and sine is this y value of 0, 1 over 0, which of course is undefined. So our answer in this situation is does not exist. And that's a quick introduction to the 4 other trigonometric functions.